rockin' everybody, I'm Brown Spotty and you're about to take my crash course in Pokemon competitive battling. Poke Battling 101. You ready? Let's do it! So when it comes to battling, there's not really much to it, right? I mean, all you have to do is hit the other Pokemon with some moves and knock it out before it does that to you. Even with typings, it shouldn't be too difficult. Fire beats grass, grass beats water, water beats fire. So with all that, all I have to do is get my Greninja to hit this Charizard with a Hydro Pump and I win, right? Nope! Take it back to the bank, return that, call it quits, send up a flag. Wait, there is much more to battling competitively than that, my friends. But before I scare you off with all the mumbo jumbo, let me break things down for you real quick here. What you're about to watch is a thorough explanation of what competitive battling really is, and how it differs from playing some kid who loves to wear shorts in the normal game. So, if you're feeling as ready as a Rattata hopped up on too much coffee, let's get into it. Typing. No, I'm not talking about what you do on your computer to leave a comment on this video when you're done watching. I'm talking about what makes a Pokemon, well, a Pokemon. To this date, we now have a whopping 18 types of Pokemon. Now that may not seem like a lot, but compared to the original number of 15, that's a pretty hefty jump. So here's a list of all the types that currently exist. And you can see there's quite a few, and you can take a moment to pause the video right here, right now, and review the matchups if need be. Right now. So basically, all Pokemon and their moves are assigned to certain types. Each type has several strengths and weaknesses in both attack and defense. In battle, you should choose a Pokemon and moves that have a type advantage over your opponent. Doing so will cause much more damage than normal. Now, a single type advantage, for instance a water attack against a rock type Pokemon, will get you double the normal damage. The advantage also adds up, so a double type advantage, for instance a water attack against a Pokemon who is both ground and rock type, will get you quadruple the damage. Pretty cool, right? In both these cases you'll see the message, it's super effective, in the game after the attack.
It's super effective!
On the other hand, a type disadvantage will only get you half or even quarter the normal damage. Here you'll see a message that says, it's not very effective.
You scratched!
It's not very effective.
Alrighty, so another advantage you can get is what's called, and now you're with me on this one, the same type attack bonus, or stab for short. As the name implies, this increases the power of a move if the attacking Pokemon has the same type as the move it's using. For example, if a fire type Pokemon is using Flamethrower or Fire Blast, or a water type Pokemon is using Water Gun or Hydro Pump, you'll get this bonus. In this case, the damage is actually 1.5 times the normal amount. So, do the math. Again, this is added to any other advantages. So a water type Pokemon using a water type move against a Pokemon who is, let's say, ground and rock type will actually get you 6 times the normal damage. No, don't worry. There aren't a gazillion types of moves. In fact, there's pretty much only 3. Physical moves, special moves, and moves that don't really do any damage at all, but may inflict status conditions like burns, paralysis, poisoning, sleep, and maybe even raising or lowering certain stats. You can easily tell what kind of move your Pokemon has by checking its summary and looking at the symbol. That should look pretty much like one of these. Just to give you a clearer idea of all this, the move Slash would be a physical attack, whereas the move Flamethrower would be a special attack. Not too hard, right? Stats. Okay, yeah, so we talked about type advantages and move typings and the sort, but that's only the tip of the Avalugg, my friends. You can have a fire type that knows a powerful attack like Fire Blast, but if your opponent's got a specially defensive monster like Weezing, for example, it's not gonna do as nearly much as you think it should. Why? Well, it's all due to the 6 different stats Pokemon can have. Let's take a second and break them down real quick, shall we? You got HP, attack, defense, special attack, special defense, and you guessed it, speed. So those are all pretty straightforward, right? I mean, the more HP you have, the more you stand a chance of your Pokemon taking a beating before it winds up on the floor, right? And the more speed you have, the more likely you are to go first, and so on and so forth. So why does all this matter so much? Well, let's take a look at a Pokemon like Gliscor, for example. I know, random, right? But Gliscor can be one of the most common and annoying stall Pokemon on the team. Let's take a look at its stats here. It's not exactly what we would call frail like our friend Alakazam over here. So, by the looks of it, it seems Gliscor is a pretty hefty Pokemon in the form of its physical defense stat, coming in at a whopping base 125. So since Gliscor's physical defense is pretty high, this means physical moves like Slash, Flare Blitz, or even a super effective water-type move like Aqua Tail may not do as much damage as you'd want it to. But fear not, my friends, because we can still hit Gliscor with special moves like Hyper Beam, Hydro Pump, and Ice Beam to take it down instead of hurling it back to the ground. This is also true in the opposite regard for Pokemon who have a high special defense stat but a low physical defense stat. So what happens if you run into a Pokemon with high defense and special defense, you ask? Good question. In that case, you run into what's known as a wall, and your best bet will be to inflict it with a status condition like a burn, or better yet, use a move like Toxic to badly poison it, and then hit it with your super effective moves. Let's try one more for example. Let's say we have a Gengar here, and let's say his name is Carl. Why Carl? I honestly don't know. Anyway, Carl here has a monster special attack, which means special moves like Shadow Ball, Psychic, Sludge Bomb, and all those sorts of moves will work very well with Carl's stats. However, if we were to teach Carl a different ghost type move in place of Shadow Ball, like Shadow Claw, a physical move, Carl will be very sad because he has short stubby fingers that can't reach his opponent. Nah, but seriously, Carl's physical attack is nothing in comparison to his special attack, so he's better off wreaking havoc, throwing his shadowy balls all over the place. Wait, that didn't come out sounding how I thought it would. Alright, so we covered the basic of the basics, and now it's time to get a little more into the nitty gritty. So, I hate to break it to you, but long are gone are the days of Pokemon equality. Because all Pokemon are not created equal. I know, it's a travesty, right? How, why, and what are you talking about, guy? Well, I'm talking about IVs and EVs. No, not blood bags and cute furry fox Pokemon or whatever they may be. I mean individual values and effort values. Again, that's IVs and EVs. You see, each Pokemon has 6 stats, right? Yeah, we went over that. Now you gotta understand that each of those stats also has a stat. Think of it as these 6 stats having a rating on a scale from 0 to 31. So yes, that means each of the 6 stats, HP, attack, defense, special attack, special defense, and speed, count them, 6, all have this rating from 0 to 31. And you guessed it, the higher the rating, the better. So how do you make a Pokemon have that perfect rating of 31 on all its stats? Well, it's all about breeding, which I'll cover in another video. Now, what about those effort values? Well, these are basically what you want your Pokemon to specialize in. You've probably come across these handy little points in the game if you tried super training before. Now, it's important to note that you can only get a maximum of 510 of these points. Sounds like quite a lot, right? But think of it this way. For every 4 of these points, they will increase a Pokemon stat by 1. Meaning, if I wanted to make a Pokemon stat go up from, let's say, 10 to 11, I would have to invest 4 of these EV points into that stat in order to make that happen. Alright, so let's say if I had a Steelix named Stan. Obviously I'd want Stan to specialize in physical defense since he already has a gargantuan defense stat. But wait, if Stan already has a high defense stat, why wouldn't I make another one of his stats better instead of that? Well, simply because if I did do that, Stan will probably still be outclassed by another Pokemon. So I might as well give a Stan a better fighting chance by bolstering his already massive defense stat and make it even more massive. As I said, I'll be making another video all about this stuff soon, so if it's still leaving you scratching your head, you can relax for now. Alright, so ever wonder what exactly a Pokemon's nature means? No, it actually means a lot more than whether your Totodile is likely to get into a bar fight or sleep all day. A Pokemon's nature actually helps determine how its stats will grow when it levels up. And yes, this works in conjunction with IVs and EVs as well. So here's a chart on all Pokemon natures and how they affect stat growth. You can take a moment to review that by pausing the video right now. So you want to make use of the 6 slots you have to make your choices when building your team. And you want to consider common weaknesses among your team. I would say if any more than 2 of your Pokemon share a weakness to one out of the 18 Pokemon types, you should probably do some adjusting. Typically, there are a few roles used in today's metagame which are physical and special sweepers or even mixed sweepers. These are Pokemon that are meant to hit hard and demolish what's left of your opponent's team. Or, as some would say, revenge kill after one of your opponent's Pokemon knocks out one of your Pokemon. Next we have physical and special walls. Again, these Pokemon are meant to give you a few extra turns to stall out for some extra damage if need be, or just to counter your opponent's sweepers. And then you've got your support / setup team members. This role is meant to either inflict status conditions, set up entry hazards, get rid of entry hazards on your side of the field, or even set up stat boosts for the rest of your team, such as, Swords Dance and Baton Passing out to another Pokemon. Obviously, having too much of any of the above categories on your team will make it really hard for you to come out on top in a battle, so mix it up a bit, would you? Finally, it's important that you figure out which of your team members would make the best Pokemon to lead off with, preferably something that's either fast, bulky, or has switch initiative, which we'll get to in a sec. Alrighty then, so we've covered typing, move types, stab, and all sorts of madness. So now what do you do when it comes down to actually picking the 4 moves that your Pokemon will use? Well, I think it's pretty safe to go ahead and tell you that you definitely should not have all your moves be the same elemental type. Rather, look at your Pokemon's typing. What are its weaknesses? Can it learn any moves that help it KO a Pokemon that it has a type disadvantage against? Like Charizard with a Solar Beam. Moreover, can it make use of any stat boosting moves like Swords Dance, weather inducing moves like Sunny Day, or status inducing moves like Will-O-Wisp or Toxic? How about an entry hazard move like Stealth Rock or Toxic Spikes? These are all things you should consider very carefully before making a decision. Not to say that you can't delete a move, but for the work it takes into getting some of these moves, like breeding, you better be safe than sorry. Other than that, you'll want to make sure at least one Pokemon on your team has the moves Rapid Spin or Defog in order to get rid of any Stealth Rocks or Toxic Spikes on your side of the field. Alright, still with me? Lastly, you'll want at least one Pokemon on your team to have Switch Initiative, and by that I mean a move that lets you attack and then switch out into a different Pokemon on the same turn, such as U-Turn or Volt Switch. Not sure which Pokemon can actually learn any of these moves? Check out Serebii.net, it's where I go. And finally, when choosing your Pokemon, you should really consider which tier they are in. In other words, this is kinda like a measure of how good one Pokemon is compared to another Pokemon. And to do that, you can check out Smogon.com right here. Items. Okay, so aside from Megastones, there are actually a bunch of useful items you can equip your Pokemon with. Rather than describe what they do, I'm just gonna list them since the game actually describes what these items do for you. So here we go. You got Choice Scarf, Choice Specs, Choice Band, Leftovers, Focus Sash, Assault Vest, Eviolite, Weakness Policy, King's Rock, Toxic Orb, Flame Orb, Citrus Berry, Lumberry, and the list goes on and on and on. Battle style. Alright trainers, so my final piece of advice to you would be to decide what kind of battle style you like, because the most important thing in a battle is that you're having fun, despite the sweaty palms and armpits you may experience at times. Are you a straight up offensive attacker? Do you like to defend and have your opponent deal with poison and burns? Or maybe you're a bit of a trickster and you'd love to make a team based around the moves Trick Room and Switcheroo. Whatever it is guys, let it be a representation of who you are. And no matter what anyone says, always be you and use Pokemon that you want to use. Because regardless of a Pokemon's type or tier, it's really you, the trainer, that makes the Pokemon great.
Battling while switching Pokemon. It's a legitimate battling style.
Well, that's about it for this segment, guys. I hope you enjoyed the video, and I really hope it'll help a ton of you out in the future. As always, if you enjoyed what you've seen here and you want to see more, please remember to smash that like button, subscribe, and leave a comment below. Let me know what you think. Until next time, peace.